So click around on GeoGebra. We're gonna make the figures that can be reflected in order to make polygons from repeated triangles. So if you're having trouble with this, let's start by making a regular polygon together. The regular polygon tool says to select 2 points and enter a number of vertices. So the first thing we need is 2 points. So let's go ahead and make that equilateral triangle with the regular polygon tool. I'm going to select 2 points, A and B, and I'm going to enter the number of vertices. That's just kind of corners. So 3 corners, there's my regular polygon. I'm going to use this reflect an object about a line tool, hover over it to see the directions. It tells me to select an object to reflect and then a line of reflection. Well, the polygon is my object to reflect, and I want to reflect it over BC. So I'm just going to move the mouse over it until it's highlighted. And I want to use it again. So reflect, choose the object, reflect the line. Now, I've got to add vertices to this figure in order for it to reflect. And then I have to create segments between the points. So let's make the segment from C to D and the segment from C to E. Then I've got to make that into a polygon. And probably I don't need a segment to do that. I bet I could just make a polygon. By, remember, click all the vertices and then the first vertex again. So we've just created a polygon on ACE. And do the same thing for CBD. Click back on C again. And now I can reflect these using that same reflection tool. There we go, just like that. And the other one will reflect also. But then we made one which had a 72-degree vertex angle. This was the isosceles triangle. So let's make a 72-degree angle from this segment. So we're going to go to the angle with a given size tool. Go to your scroll down and find the angle with a given size tool and scroll over it. It tells you to select a leg point, then a vertex, and enter size. Now F is where I want the angle to turn up. So I'm going to select this leg point, this vertex, and I'm going to ask for a 72-degree angle, and I want it, I think clockwise will give me a segment over here on the right. And yes, there it is. Now, this point here, if I make a segment from F to G, I will have a 72-degree angle. So let's make that segment from F to G. And that keeps that angle together. So if I want to move this figure, it will remain a 72-degree angle no matter how large I go. See how the measure doesn't change? 72 degrees. And F and G, let's go ahead and put a measure on them. Let's go to show label. And let's go to the properties of this object, and let's change the label not just to name, but to name and value. Because I want to verify that this guy here, is it FG? Yeah, is the same measure, 2.57, as FG prime. So object properties, show label, and make the label a name and a value. And they are in fact the same. So I can create an isosceles triangle now, which is a triangle with two sides congruent, simply by connecting G and G prime. This little figure, this little apostrophe here is said prime, G prime. It just means a reflection of G. If we turn it into a polygon, we can reflect the entire figure. Use the reflection tool to reflect this polygon over this side and this side. Does it look like it's going to make a pentagon? It sure does. Now the other cool thing we can do with this is to create a circle. Circle with center through point. Okay, so it tells me to select the center point and then the point on the circle. So here's the center I want, and there's a point on the circle. So that kind of clearly shows that each of these isosceles sides is a radii of some circle. And that's true for all regular polygons. I want to see if I can stretch this thing around a little bit, and it doesn't look like I can make it any bigger or smaller. None of these are really, here we go, flexible. This one makes it flexible. So the original point G allows me to move this guy around and spin it around. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this software. So any multiple or any central angle here that can be repeated or that is a factor of 360 is something you can use as the vertex measure to create a regular polygon through reflection, repeated reflection. So give it a try, spend about an hour clicking around in here and make a really cool file.